What's up, y'all? It's T-Turn. Today we're going to be talking about an interesting theory about Terapagos and the Indigo disc, which is very well timed with now us knowing us the release date, and it's kind of a different take. I don't know how it took us till now to realize this, but it originates from this tweet here, which shows Terapagos side by side with a certain item, and I'm going to explain it. So the Terapagos on the left is something we were looking through in a video. One of the companies that has licensing from Pokemon to make figures recently put up these Terapagos figures on their site, and we were looking through them in a previous video on all the different angles. We saw the underbelly of Terapagos, looks exactly what you'd expect from a turtle, and we got a better look at the sides of Terapagos, which actually show hexagons for once. And why mentioning the company's relevant is because it's official, so they got the details right from Pokemon, so it'd be pretty accurate. So one of the images show it from a bird's eye view where you can see Terapagos from the top, perfectly showing all its typings. I've counted them, all 18 are there, and I guess this can kind of represent the 19th type. So of course, when people were entranced looking at this photo, this person on Reddit noticed something. That if you look at Terapagos very carefully, it starts to look reminiscent of an item called the Dreamcatcher, which is the item on the right. And I'll explain what the Dreamcatcher is and where it originates. And it's kind of interesting, but first, let's compare the two, because this might be kind of an answer to what Terapagos is. This is one of the biggest mysteries. What are Terapagos? What are the Paradox Pokemon? So first off, you got all the typings here, which fit to the mesh here. I would say it gives a proper reasoning to why Terapagos has pentagons and irregular ones instead of hexagons, because look, this is an irregular pentagon too. But you know, if you look at different Dreamcatchers, some of them are circular, so that part isn't too relevant. But when you look carefully, it lines up more and more. So you got all the typings that match up here. Then you have the Terra in the middle, which lines up with this. You got the top of Terapagos here, and then the flowing tail, which works as the feathers on this. When you look at it a bit zoomed out, it does look a lot like the Dreamcatcher. So the question arises, is Terapagos somehow based off this Dreamcatcher? Which I did some research into what it is, so I'll explain what I found out. So it's an item originating from the Ojibwe people, who are an indigenous group, and it's handmade, and they weave this mesh together and decorate it with the feathers and all. And then you see what they do is they hang it up somewhere, and this is the part that's interesting. What it does is it protects a sleeping person from bad or negative dreams. It's called the Dreamcatcher because it's supposed to capture all the dreams passing by and then filter only the good ones down to the feathers for us to enjoy while we're sleeping. And so why this is interesting, of course, is because this is one of the two major theories for what the answer to the mystery of this game is. That the Paradox Pokemon and Terapagos are involved in time travel, or that Terapagos is an imagination Pokemon that is bringing fake Pokemon to life. That Heath 200 years ago is a compulsive liar. He made up his whole journey, came to the surface, published a book, and everyone rightfully called him a liar. And then 200 years later, Sodom Tour are inspired by the fantasies in the book, and they go to Area Zero, discover nothing is there, but then they meet Terapagos in some way, and Terapagos brings their dreams to life. Here we got the Dreamcatcher, and Terapagos looks a lot like it. So now that I've explained it, let's have some fun with this idea, right? Because it does look a lot like a Dreamcatcher. Now, if I show you some pictures of a Dreamcatcher on Google, they're sometimes shown differently. Like this one has multiple nets, but they generally have the same look. Flowing feathers at the bottom, and this entrancing pattern with something in the center. Generally, regardless of what photo you click on, it has that same shape. I mean, look at this one. The big thing to mention here about it uncannily looking like the Dreamcatcher is I want to bring your focus to Terapagos' tail. Turtles do not have a tail like this. So I made a video on this explaining it, but pretty much the only turtle, which is only in mythology, that has that flowing tail is in a Japanese myth called Urano Shimako involving a time-traveling turtle. It has that exact flowing tail. So it almost seems that Terapagos has to be based off that time-traveling turtle, especially when we have time travel in the game. But then it also looks a lot like the Dreamcatcher here. It's supposed to be either time-traveling turtle or a dream Pokemon. How could it resemble both of these at the same time? I mean, of course, it could be a coincidence that it looks like a Dreamcatcher. It's bound to look like something accidentally. But imagine if Terapagos turned out to be both theories at the same time. Both a turtle with time powers and dream powers. Nobody would have expected that. And then there's something else to mention, right? Remember the explanation I gave? There's such things as bad dreams and good dreams, right? That the Dreamcatcher catches. Well, in the story of Scarlet and Violet, we kind of have a dream granting phenomenon play out that doesn't involve Terapagos. It involves Dokutaro, or some kind of poisonous power. The loyal 3 Pokemon are Pathetic, Monkey, Dog, and Bird Pokemon, and something poisonous grants them the poisonous chains and turns them into these evil, greedy Pokemon. I mean, it's written in the game that they had some kind of dream granted to them. Okidoki ends up buffing up and getting muscle, Monkey Dory gets granted insane psychic powers, and Pheasantipity grows beautiful. All we know is that the toxic chains seems to be what granted them their powers, and since we know there seems to be a 4th loyal legendary, we kind of assume it comes from Dokutaro. So if this whole dream catching net turns out to be legit for Terapagos, it's almost like you could create this scenario where Terapagos is a dream Pokemon and Dokutaro actually has a connection to Terapagos. It's almost a Pokemon that has the negative parts of those dreams that are captured. Not that Dokutaro is a part of Terapagos, because that's too contrived to say, but maybe something like Dokutaro hunts and takes out the evil dream power from Terapagos. Like, that's really weird, right? The game itself has this weird dream concept shown to us. I'm just throwing out fun ideas, right? And then the other one is we have the heat drawing where Terapagos clearly is shown going crazy. If we were to say Terapagos is a dream Pokemon and kind of based off this whole Dreamcatcher thing, which could work out as maybe it's like catching the dreams of all Paulian people, you know, just a tiny portion, and that feeds Terapagos power. And then if someone goes and meets Terapagos, it can grant a huge amount of that dream power to you to grant your dreams. So even taking Dokutaro out of the picture, if we were to think of how this innocent turtle could turn into such a ruthless creature like shown in Heat's drawings, it's almost like someone triggered all the negative dreams that it captured to come, you know, erupting out. And that's why it looks like this chaotic Pokemon summoning tsunamis. You know, I both love and hate it. I don't want Terapagos to be a dream Pokemon, but there's definitely something interesting here. At the end of the day, while Scarlet and Violet does have this time theme to it, so far there's no direct correlation to Terapagos and time travel. The real implication seems to be just that Terapagos' crystals are so potent with energy that they use it for inventions. So Sarantura use it to make an AI and a time machine, and maybe the ancient people who left the stuff in Area Zero use it for stuff as well. But it's like the time traveling stuff is a byproduct of using Terapagos' energy. So far as of now, there's nowhere in the game that actually suggests Terapagos itself has time powers. But of course, all of this is just me focusing on the idea that it looks like the Dreamcatcher, because at the end of the other day, it still looks like the time traveling turtle. So anyhow, this is just a short video. I wanted to throw my thoughts out there. Y'all let me know, you know, this debate has started once again. Is Terapagos a dream Pokemon maybe, and actually is meant to resemble the Dreamcatcher, or is it a turtle with time powers, like in the Japanese myth? Which one do you think is true? And don't say both. You have to pick one side. Everyone will say both then. We got a month and a half left. When we play these DLCs, which one do you think Terapagos will turn out to be? Make sure y'all shank that like button. I gotta go do some stuff, so I'll see you on the next one. Take care.